Well, hello and welcome once again out to A Goodman's Tale. My name is Joshua Goodman and I will be your host today. As you know, of course, A Goodman's Tale is a place where we can get down, talk about the nitty, the gritty, the up, the down, the good, the bad, life's greatest victories, challenging moments, and tragedies. As always, we ask if you enjoy these episodes that you would like, share, and subscribe. Help us get the word out, and so that others might be encouraged by the stories that we tell here at A Goodman's Tale. That being said, let's get it. All right, guys, listen. This past weekend, our men went on a whitewater rafting trip. The Ironmen took 20 dudes up to Nantahala National Park or National Forest and went down the Nantahala River, had a great time. And today, what I want to do is tell you that story and the great time we had. Stay tuned after the episode, because at the conclusion of this, we're going to throw in a short video reel of the pics, the shooting the falls and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you hang out afterwards so that you can check that out. I'm not sure how many of you have ever been to the Nantahala River or have gone down, but let me give you a little bit of history about it. Whitewater rafting really started getting big, oh goodness sake, in the early 70s. Burt Reynolds did a movie called Deliverance, where portions of that were actually filmed at Nantahala. And that was when whitewater rafting was just beginning to become a thing. The guy who actually trained Burt Reynolds and his crew on how to whitewater raft, and also did a lot of the action shots for that movie, did that at Nantahala. And one of the individuals, the instructor, actually began doing these whitewater rafting trips down the Nantahala River. Now, what kind of creates the whitewater rapid situation at Nantahala? You have Nantahala Lake, which is up above a hydro dam, and every morning they open up that dam and release kind of the floodwaters, which create this great whitewater rafting experience. Previous to that, before the lake was there, the Nantahala River was more of a, just kind of a small creek rather than a whitewater rafting adventure, right? But after making this dam, this hydro dam, releasing the waters, they saw a great opportunity to turn it into a hiker, kayak, whitewater rafting. It's on the Appalachian Trail, and so just a great outdoor activity location. And they began building it up. A couple years ago, when the wildfire came through, burning up portions of Gatlinburg, I know Westgate Resorts lost a lot of their stuff. Well, that same fire, it ravaged all of what I'll call Nantahala Village. But since then, they've rebuilt, they've gotten back on their feet. The whitewater rafting business, kayaking business, hiking business up there is, like I said, it's an outdoorsman's paradise. So what happens is every morning about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, they open the dam. What this translates to is water that's been sitting at the very bottom of the lake, 40, 50 degree water, really, really cold water. It's allowed to escape from the bottom of the lake and begin to fill the river. So this water that is, Arctic cold is being released, and can be quite a shock on a hot July afternoon if you're falling into the water. You go up to the very, the top, very close to where the hydro dam is, and that's the lead, what we'll call the let out point. They have all the rafts up there, take you up there in a huge school bus, and then you grab your rafts and, get in the water and go. And it's a 2-3 hour experience, with a couple of really key fun points. They got this really fun portion where there's a rock that kind of is an outcropping over the river, and you jump in to the river and the river just kind of rushes you away. What a great experience how much fun that is. And then at the conclusion of the whitewater rafting is what is called the Lesser Wesser Falls. The Lesser Wesser Falls are, I think, a class 3 or 4 rapid waterfall, and is a great, just ending to a great day out on the river. Anyway, enough about the history of Nantahala. Let's jump in and talk about this whitewater rafting trip that we had. A great, fun, and amazing time. Highly recommend it for the family. My experience with Nantahala actually began probably 25 years ago. Me and my family, my mom, my dad, my wife, even my kids, all went up to a place called Murphy, North Carolina, which was where my grandfather lived, Keith. And we went up to visit him. He had this trailer on this just great spot out in the middle of the woods, by a mountain stream. We sat out there fishing for brook trout half the day long, just a great time. But he told us, hey, a couple of the things you guys can do around here, really fun stuff. They have this whitewater rafting you can go do down the Nantahala. And we were like, sounds good. So we went and met these individuals at the rafting place, who does the rafts, and it turns out that they were from the same place my dad was in Florida, and had gone to the same high school and knew a lot of the same people. So it just really made a great connection. And we went down unguided, very first time. It was my dad, maybe my sisters, I can't even remember, but a bunch of us, and just had a great time. And we were like, this is something we're going to do from now on. So shortly after that, right, we had such a great experience that we were like, we need to bring our men's group up here to enjoy this. And literally after that, we began bringing the men's group up, the Ironmen, every year to experience this whitewater rafting. What we didn't know is what would it really evolve into. What we took as a family vacation, and have taken many family vacations up there, also turned into, goodness sake, guys, an experience for our men. To be able to bring anywhere from 10 to 15, 20, up to 30 guys, sit around the campfire, worship the Lord, have dinner together, do devotions together, iron sharpening iron, right? It really put me in mind, and Lou, the head of our men's ministry, sent us this scripture when we were coming back from the trip. And it says this, Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for no one will be there to help him up. Again, if 2 lay down together, they can keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered by another, 2 can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. I want to share with you also another scripture from Psalms, and just bear with me one second. Let me get to Psalms chapter, where's it? Psalms 133, very short portion. It says this, it says, behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious oil upon the head, running down the beard of Aaron, running down to the edge of his garments. It is like the dew of Hermon, descending upon the mounts of Zion. For there the Lord commanded his blessing, life forever. It's interesting to me how often I believe we disqualify ourselves from portions of life because we don't choose to live together in unity. How often do we disqualify ourselves from just great things in our life? We disqualify ourselves because we choose not to act in unity. Don't get me wrong, unity is challenging, right? Been married 27 years, unified with my wife. We've had some very difficult, very challenging times. But I got to tell you, my life absolutely would not be the same without her. She is the light of my life. Have we had arguments? Absolutely. Have we argued at 3 o'clock in the morning? Yes. Spent those all-nighters, difficult, challenging, iron sharpening iron. But I got to tell you, we have endured great hardship, tragedy, loss, difficulty. But because we have chose to remain united, there is something that is so good, so precious, so valuable, so rich in that relationship. And when we as men were able to go up on this whitewater rafting trip, may seem just like a mountain vacation for the guys, right? No, friends. It gave us the opportunity to unite, to conversate. Man, it gave us the opportunity to pick on one another, cut down one and talk and, talk a little bit of trash here and there and really just carve out a great, great portion of our relationship. We left, goodness sake, probably 8 a.m. on Friday, and started our way over. Ended up taking, like 8 or 9 hours to get there. We get up to the lodge. I'm trying to remember, Nanny's Hideaway, something like that, was the name of the place where we rented the cabins from. And we get up to the cabins, we begin to unload and get everything ready for dinner that night. We eat, cheeseburgers out by the grill, having a great time with the fellas, and then go into a time of devotions, and we're worshiping the Lord. Got about 2 or 3 guys up there, right, playing guitars and just hanging out, worshiping the Lord and doing our time of devotion. After that, we break out some mallows and start roasting some marshmallows. Boys playing hide and go seek in the dark, and just a great time of fellowship, hanging out, having fun, realizing that we're going to go to bed and then get up bright and early and make breakfast and head out for the rafting trip. Well, some of the guys were held over here in Fayetteville, and so they didn't get in. They didn't get in till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm laying there, trying to sleep, and come about 1 o'clock in the morning, I hear this voice out of the darkness, Pastor, wake up, and I get up, get these guys settled in. They finally, like I said, everybody finally arrives like at 1:30. Finally, we're settled in by 2, realizing that we're going to have to get up at 6 and start on breakfast. But we did it, and it was good. Got up, made a slamming breakfast for the guys, and did our morning devotions. And then it was time. We headed down to Nantahala Outdoor Center, NOC. Highly recommend them. Great organization. They're not paying me to say it, but I got to tell you, our guys had a great time, and their professionalism, their fun, everything about them. And they're actually found right there in Nantahala Village, just over the bridge. They do a time of educating us, telling us how to, if somebody gets knocked out of the raft, how to get them back in the raft, and the position to take if you're outside of the raft, and just, all of the safety precautions that are necessary to have a good, safe time down the river. And let us know where different portions, more difficult portions of the river are, Patton's Run, where to go, how to take it, the bump, where to go, how to take it, and then finally the lesser Wessers, where to go and how to take it. It was interesting. I'll get back to when we launched, but when we launched, there was a father and daughter who just kind of stuck out with us. They wanted to hang out that day. The guy was like, "Hey, my daughter, sees you guys going down the river, and we're just going to kind of coast with you." And at the very end, they're in a little ducky and they get plummeted, man. And I saw their pictures. They showed them to me after the rafting trip, and you see them flying out of the raft here and flying out of the raft there, and just what a exciting, crazy, scary, fun experience that must have been. Anyway, so we get all trained up, all ready to go, right? And get in this huge school bus. I don't know how many people were up in that thing, 60, 80 people. It was packed. And make our way up. We hop off the bus, and the guides are there, and grabbing our rafts, and we head on down to the launch site, the launch part. Took a couple pics with all the guys, and then dove in the river so I could get accustomed to it. And then there we were, ready to go. We had all the young dudes in one raft, and got to give mad props to my little brother. Took a whack on the head with an oar and had blood, streaming down his face, and looks like a stinking pirate Viking going down the river. Frightening sight, and hardcore, good stuff. And listen, if you're joining me and you're watching this and you're like, "Oh, it's dangerous, my son, my boy, I'm scared." Listen, boys, need the cuts, they need the bruises, they need scars, because those scars are kind of, and Lou did a great job our final evening, or final morning, that Sunday morning, talking about the scars that make us. And I'm not going to go into a deep Bible study, but just some powerful stuff that he brought out about us and our scars and the stories that those scars tell. So we begin going down the river. We hit our first kind of break point. We're going to stop. We're going to hang out a little bit in true country, southern, hillbilly fashion. There's some folks out there, and they've stacked a couple rafts on top of each other. They're climbing up this thing and diving and flipping and tripping and stumbling into the water off of it. I don't know these people, but I'm like, hey, I'm going to get to know them. I start talking to them like, hey, let me jump off. And before you know it, we're hanging out with these guys and jumping off the rafts and just hanging out and having a good time. One of the young guys on the trip, Will, comes to me and he's like, Pastor, could you baptize me here? I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Of course. So with this crowd of the people around us, I start doing a baptism service, baptize a couple of people, and it was great because the people that weren't even a part of our trip are gathered around. They're watching these baptisms take place. And as I baptize them, they're letting out these cheers, woo, applauding and shouting and just celebrating with us as our guys are being baptized. Really, guys, for a minister, that was one of it's a moment I'll never forget. Let me put it to you like that. It reminded me of John the Baptizer baptizing at the River Jordan, and the crowds would come out into the wilderness to this place and partake in John's baptism. And so just it was really cool. Anyway, we got done there and kept heading down. Had a few other experiences. I got to give Lloyd, my boy, mad props because it was his first time down the river. And so I told him, I was going to pull him down into the river with me. And so I sneak up on him. I'm all stealthy and everything. And I grab him. I pull him into the river. And he literally turns around and does this judo ninjutsu move on me where suddenly he's like thrusting me down and into the water. And I came up and I'm like, man, that was an amazing takedown. He comes to himself and he's like, Pastor, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I did. And I'm like, dude, no, man, that's what I'm talking about. Don't just be dunked, dunk me back. I listen, if I can dish it out, I got to be able to take it, right? And keep on going down the river, have a great time. And then we get down to about 3/4 of the way down the river, and there's this little landing spot where you can get pizza and barbecue sandwiches, and we pull in there, and Lou walks straight to me and he's like, your brother, your brother. Josh Benson brings my brother to me, and literally my boy's got blood just streaming down his face where he'd been whacked in the head with an oar. And we and if you don't know my brother, he's got like this blonde curly hair, so we're trying to get through the matted blood to see how deep, how bad. And just a short testimony, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, it doesn't look too bad, but it just so happened a last minute addition kind of to our trip was a surgeon. And I'm like, Jamie, come on, get over here, man, check this out. He comes, he checks it out. He says, no, it's bleeding real bad, but scalp wounds are always going to bleed terrible. He says, but it doesn't need any stitches. Praise God for that, because really we didn't want to stop, call an ambulance, have to make our way to the hospital. He says, look, he's clear. He's going to bleed a little bit. Put some pressure on it. When it stops bleeding, he'll get cleaned up. But again, the rest of the day, Zach just looked like I said, a warrior Viking after a battle. We continue down the river, hit this one spot where a few times now, great spot on the Nantahala. If you don't go to Hideaway, then this is just, if you're going to tent camp, this is the spot to go. There's a spot where you can tent camp right on the river. And as a matter of fact, the man and his daughter, they were actually camping there, as we're, and we, there's your spot. Cool deal. I've brought my sons there, Tony and Zion, last year, just before Tony got married. Tent camped right there by the river. What a great experience to be able to wake up and have the river right there beside you. be able to just dive in, swim, do whatever you want to do. Again, highly recommended. Check it out. A lot of fun. And then finally, you make your way to the bump, and to the lesser Falls, where we had a great run. Finally, towards the end, I'm like not navigating. I let Tony navigate for a while, and my boy Fran, he gets to navigate as we go down the falls. He does it in just the most excellent way. We cruise down that thing like champions, y'all, and make our way down to the landing spot. I got to tell you this too, just in kind of concluding the whitewater rafting portion. So that was our boat. We've landed, and we're still waiting on Matt and Greg and their whole team. And Matty, man, he's navigating their boat, and he just pulls it in to the landing spot. And as the raft kind of bumps into the land, he uses that momentum to scoot right out and just hop off the boat and just kind of walk away like the man he is, right? Just cool stuff. And then so we had a great time going down the river. Check it out. Highly recommend you visit Nantahala because it's just a lot of fun. We get back home, and get cleaned up. Start playing spades and dominoes. Me being the chef, I start prepping the steaks and getting things ready for dinner that night. Sit down, have dinner that night, and hang out by the campfire, fellowshipping with the boys. Next morning, we get up again and make breakfast, do devotions, and start packing up to head home. And pack up, we head home, and just just in conclusion to that trip, hanging out with these 18 to 20 guys, getting to know their personalities and fellowship with them, I walk away from that time truly encouraged and blessed. For me, being able as a pastor to hang out with what I'll call my boys, my crew, my tribe, my men, to get to know them, my mighty men, as David is with his mighty men, and to get to know their goodness sake, their personalities, their jokes and their disses and their up times and their low times and just everything about them. I step away from this weekend of fellowship and fun, the relationship building, right? And I'm like, yeah, right there, that fellowship, that relationship, that tossing into the water and then jujitsu move, throwing me down. Guys, I got to tell you, that is so much of what it is all about. I think sometimes, right? And I'll close with this. Sometimes we get so caught up in all the, I'm not trying to sound like heresy, but we get so caught up in what we consider spiritual things, acting the right way, spiritual, talking the right way, spiritual, walking the right way. When, man, really it's all about just building a relationship with our Heavenly Father and building a relationship with the brothers and sisters that we have around us. And so let me encourage you today, just in closing, right? If you're out there today and you're not actively cultivating the relationship here, start doing it, because God is such a good Father. Also, if you're not actively pursuing the relationship here, listen, the relationship here, that's a challenge, right? The one here's a little easier because He's perfect. He's just got to put up with us. But when we got to start putting up with each other, learning our imperfections and our good days and our bad days and the days we have attitudes and are mean, when we've got to put up with one another through that stuff, listen, I'm not saying those things aren't challenging. But what I'm saying is the benefit of what they bring about is such a blessing. It's so huge. So get out there, cultivate relationships, go on whitewater rafting trips, have adventures, man. You got this one life to live. Go out and live it with all you've got. Anyway, guys, that's about all the time I have for today. I hope you've enjoyed this session. As I said before, stay tuned after this, because we are going to throw a video on there of just a montage of the pictures of the whitewater rafting trip that we had such a great time on. That being said, as always, like, share, subscribe, help us get the word out there. And for now, listen, go out there and live life with all you've got.
Restriction.